You know what? Let's just get right into it. The story that's been kind of probably the biggest one all week is the Deshaun Watson trade rumors.
Yep.
Let's just dive right in.
Okay. All right. I will take the floor.
By the way, it's Sunday, 5:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No trade has happened.
Right. And it's not going to.
Our opinion, yes, it's not going to.
No, it's not in our opinion anymore. It's a fact. It's not going to. So,
okay.
All right. So everyone's every sports show is led with this. So basically, this is kind of my rant about the sports media. Okay, I feel like the sports media, very similar to the political media, just kind of uses certain information to try to prove an argument, and then, well, not necessarily prove an argument, but to try to make a point, and they don't use any discernment or judgment to try to figure out
there.
Right.
Just put it out there and see what happens.
Right. They don't use any context or judgment. So people read this, they think, or read this or hear about this and think, oh, it's happening. Oh, well, they said that, and nobody, Now, listen, it's not 100% every, journalist or sports media person's fault that this happens, but they are creating the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. So Deshaun Watson has 22 or something like that allegations of
right.
Yeah, of sexual assault or
right.
Sexual.
And there's still now criminally, I think that's still out there.
He hasn't been charged with a crime.
He hasn't been charged. Okay. All right.
Right. So right now they're just allegations. So that happened in the off season, probably 6 months ago. Okay. So back then, what happened first was Deshaun Watson said, I don't want to play for the Texans anymore. So that started all these teams talking about trading for him. And
which, of course, you should. Deshaun Watson's a really talented quarterback. He's in the prime of his career. Okay.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep. Special guy. One of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So then the allegations came out, and that basically stopped all the trade talk for a little while. And then everybody wondered, well, what's going to happen? So they started the season. They're not playing Deshaun Watson. They still have him on the team, and they've become more open to trading him. So the Miami Dolphins have been on the forefront of this the entire time, even though logically it makes no sense to trade for this guy when I know he's eligible to play, but let's be realistic. You can't have him play on your team right now.
Well,
okay?
What the thing that I guess pushed this was that Roger Goodell had a press conference and he came out and said, because someone asked him about, well, why isn't Deshaun Watson on the commissioner's exempt list, which is a list of players the commissioner says cannot play, and because the NFL right now has not done anything. The only thing that's happened is the Texans have said, you're not, Deshaun Watson's not playing, So, but there was a press conference and Roger Goodell said, yeah, we're not, at this point, things are, investigations are still going on. We're not going to act yet until we feel it's appropriate. So I guess people took that as a translation. Oh, well, that means he can play, but it's kind of one of those things. It's like, well, yeah, I guess technically you could play him, but do you really think that's a good idea right now?
Right. The team that has him, that's had him his whole career, okay, that knows what's going on probably more than anybody else does,
right,
is saying, you know what? We're not going to put this guy out there.
Right.
It's a bad idea. So the idea that one of these teams would trade for him and then put him out there is irresponsible and ridiculous. Okay?
Right.
So within the last month, it all started, well, the Dolphins are offering this, and it started to become a negotiation, and then it's, well, they're definitely interested. I think they're going to try to get him before the deadline. And then this past week, it turned into they've agreed on a deal. But
agreed on terms. That's what we heard on Thursday.
Right. So they've agreed to a deal. However, the Dolphins want him to have all his legal issues resolved and get some clarity from the NFL commissioner on what's going to happen.
I say, yeah, no shit. Like,
So those two things are not going to happen. Like his case is going to take a long time to go forward. He doesn't give a deposition until February. Okay, there's no grand jury scheduled to meet to decide whether they're going to bring charges or not. So there's nothing on the horizon. The trade deadline is Tuesday, 48 hours, less than 48 hours from now.
yeah.
And so this is my criticism. Okay, sports media. Okay, you can't come out and just go, oh, well, I'm just reporting the news. Okay? That's nonsense. They report this stuff and then they go, oh, no, I think there's a good chance of it happening because they've agreed to this deal and they've agreed to that deal. At no point, hold on, let me finish.
News thing, though. News is like this thing happened. You know, they traded this guy or they suspended this guy or Roger Goodell put this guy on the commissioner's exempt list. That's news. Putting speculation, that's not a news thing. That's an opinion thing. That's editorializing about something that might happen. So the idea that you don't put any sort of thought into, well, should we put this out there, or if we do put this out there, should we first lead with the caveats to this of, you know, it doesn't really seem like this could happen, you know, or maybe we'll interview this guy who says it doesn't really seem like this is going to happen because it doesn't make any sense because there's no way his legal issues are going to be resolved.
Right. So
they were just pushing this as, oh, well, this is going to happen.
Right. So those have been the stories that have been coming out. They put the first paragraph, the headline, Watson or Dolphins close to trading for Deshaun Watson. And then you read about the third or fourth paragraph of all of these stories is, oh, only if this and this and this and this happened. But we think there's a good chance it could happen. So nobody
paragraph invalidates the first paragraph.
Right. So nobody does any, takes it, like I said, no discernment, no using your own judgment, no giving us the idea of what's going on. They just put a bunch of stuff out there, no context, and then just, well, they said, that blah, blah, blah. So this is my criticism of the sports media is, you guys, this is not, your job is to give us the information, explain it to us, so we have an idea what might happen or what's going to happen, okay? And none of you are doing it. Now, I want to give a shout out to Albert Breer and Peter King from the Monday Morning Quarterback.
I heard Peter King. I didn't hear what Albert Breer said.
They are the only people that I have heard who are giving this some kind of context. Albert Breer said on Friday, I don't see how this happens. I don't see how they can possibly trade for him when it's like this. So where is everybody else? Where are you guys?
The worst part about this is that, you and I basically were on the same page on this, and then we're finding all these other people in the sports media who are just, doing a piss poor job. And then I listened to Skip Bayless on Undisputed on Friday, and Skip Bayless goes, I don't see any way this can happen. So now Skip Bayless is on the right side of this, and everybody else is wrong. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, when Skip Bayless is the voice of reason in your argument, you've jumped the shark. You've gone way too far. So
Skip Bayless was totally reasonable. He's just like, look, I understand, because basically the way that I think they led the show with this. So the moderator, I don't even know if you call her a moderator, she just sort of puts a topic out there. And Shannon Sharp goes, yes, I think this is going to happen because both teams want this to happen. And I'm just thinking, I'm listening, I'm going, yeah, they both want it to happen. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, And then Skip Bayless is just like, I understand that what you're saying about both teams. I mean, I'm paraphrasing what you're saying about both teams wanting it to happen, but I just don't see any way that, and they want resolution of the legal issues. I just don't see any way that's going to happen. That's more or less what he said. And it's like, yeah, duh.
Yeah. So what I compared it to was, I thought about when's the last time the media got a sports story completely wrong, completely missed it. And not only, so in this story, I haven't heard, we'll see what happens next week. I haven't heard any journalists coming out saying, well, we really thought this was going to happen, justifying their
to watch. That's something to watch for
Yeah,
this week.
justifying their beliefs yet. But so here's a situation this situation right now made me think of this past situation from April. So before the NFL draft, okay, the San Francisco 49ers traded to get the third pick, okay? All of these stories came out in like February. They really want Mac Jones. The pick is going to be Mac Jones. It really is. Everyone was very convinced. Adam Schefter, everybody on ESPN, it's definitely going to happen. Like, this is where they are. We're 100% sure it's going to be Mac Jones. And you and I are going, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you wouldn't trade for the less talented quarterback with the third pick.
Yeah.
When, like, it doesn't make any sense. I think Mac Jones is probably going to be pretty good, and he's been pretty good this year, especially for a rookie. So, no offense, but I was going, well, this doesn't make any sense. And everyone keeps saying it over and over and over again. No. It's definitely happening. Okay? Then the draft comes up. They draft Trey Lance. Another quarterback gets drafted after Trey Lance. Then Mac Jones gets picked about 12 spots later.
Right.
Okay? So, and then after that, I was really interested in this. I read through all these different media people that had the Mac Jones story, and they were all still backing their own story. Not one of them would go, well, you know what, I guess they probably lied to me. They might have, the team might have, manipulated the situation. Shocking.
Never do that with media. No,
right,
never.
Right.
You never manipulate the media.
Even though the draft is notorious for every single year this happens. So no, they stuck with their story. No, they were good. No, they were going to take Mac Jones at the last minute. They changed their mind. Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch had put out there after the draft. We were intentionally putting stuff out there to kind of mess with you guys. We didn't know where you were getting these stories from. So again, you guys, like, okay, you have a source inside the team. You're just going to report what they say. You're not going to, forget checking whether it's true or not, because it could be true that some person inside the 49ers told Mike Silver or whoever that that's what was going to happen. But no media people would acknowledge, that they wouldn't have lied to. No, my source was accurate. No, nobody takes responsibility for anything. It's amazing. And I'm listening to Mike Lombardi. He's a former general manager, former executive guy for 30 years in the NFL. And he's sticking to the same story. No, Kyle Shanahan wanted Mac Jones. That's exactly who we wanted. And now that Trey Lance isn't playing well, they better hope that, Mac Jones stops playing well, because, they're really going to look bad. It's like, it baffles my mind how these guys, and it's the same thing when Adam Schefter put out the day before the draft, or the day of the draft, Aaron Rodgers wants to be traded. And then they ask Adam Schefter about it the next week, and he's like, no, that didn't happen that day. That was just an accumulation of stuff that I decided to release the day of the draft. How stupid do you think we are? Like, what?
Well, this is again goes into a larger theory I have about the media, which is people need to realize how much they are being manipulated or lied to by the media, or just when you look the media, how poor of a job the media does a lot of times with different things. So you can't totally, as a fan, as a consumer, as just a citizen, you can't just go based on what the media says, because a lot of times they screw up all kinds of stuff. They won't even admit they screwed up, but they'll screw up all kinds of stuff, or they won't add context to stuff. I mean,
Clark, I want to give us credit, give a shout out to us, because for the last 2 weeks, you and I have both been saying this is not going to happen. I wish we could have bet our mortgages on it, because we would win all kinds of money. Now, listen, okay, if before Tuesday he somehow gets traded to the Dolphins, I will come on here and I will apologize, unlike any sports media would ever do.
I think that's a huge. Well, given what they would probably have to give up for him, I would think we should probably pivot from that to how this, the conversation about the Dolphins and, their quarterback and then just their team and stuff. Because there is a whole aspect of this where we have an opinion about maybe it doesn't make sense to trade for Deshaun Watson now because the rest of your team sucks.
Yeah, okay. So let me just finish. So I'll finish up with this. So, listen, okay? we're thinking about renaming the podcast to The Honesty Brokers. Okay? Because, listen, you want to come here? No BS. I know everybody says they're fair and balanced. Wink, wink. But, it's absolutely ridiculous what's happened with the sports media. They're out of control. Just because a source tells you something doesn't mean you should report it. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, give it some, or at least if you're going to say the source told me this, at least say, yeah, but I really don't think this is going to happen because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
At least do that. So anyway, Deshaun Watson is not going to get traded before Tuesday. Maybe in the offseason he will. Maybe. Possibly. But anyway.
Yeah.
So that's going to be so I'm going to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. It's one of those things that just ticks me off because it's just
Yeah. I mean,
irresponsible and ridiculous.